So, what is hacktivism and when did it begin? Hacktivism is, as the name suggests, a form of activism involving the hacking of computers and computer networks. This is done in order to protest against acts of injustice or tyranny. The term was coined in 1994 by a Cult of the Dead Cow member known by his online handle Omega. The Cult of the Dead Cow is a computer hacker and media organization that was founded in 1984 in Lubbock, Texas, and was one of the earliest hacking organizations formed. Who are Anonymous? Hacktivism has been brought into the spotlight in recent years, with more hacktivists active online than ever before. What caused this sudden spike in interest? Enter Anonymous, a loosely associated, ever-changing group of hacktivists composed of people from all walks of life. United by their love of computer systems, and fittingly, their love for fighting the system, and passion for human rights, Anonymous can be thought of as the faceless do-gooders of the web. The Anonymous movement grew from the online community 4chan. If you're hearing that for the first time, no one will blame you for wondering how the same community that sparked the rise of lolcats also attributed to the exponential growth of what is now a world-renowned political movement. Anonymous has fought for a plethora of good causes. For example, Operation Darknet, retaliating against underage pornographic websites, targeting the digital properties of various hate groups, uncovering Chinese military cyber attacks against the United States, taking down the Westboro Baptist Church's website in protest, originally supporting WikiLeaks. However, they have not supported WikiLeaks since 2012, when Anonymous members criticized the site for implementing a payment system. Anonymous supported WikiLeaks? How controversial! Anonymous is surrounded by controversy. A massive collection of people who operate of their own free will without allegiances or loyalties, they have found themselves under fire from the public and governments for numerous acts. Anonymous is not black and white. Anonymous will never operate under a leader. Therefore, Anonymous is incredibly difficult to define as a good or bad collection of people, especially when you consider that the very concepts of good and bad are just that, concepts. Like the population of the world, Anonymous contains members from all different walks of life, all with different senses of what is moral, good, or immoral, bad. Anonymous have been called out on numerous occasions for acts of so-called cyber terrorism, especially when the US government becomes involved. Negative acts of Anonymous include alleged hacking of the Epilepsy Foundation forum and posting bright, flashing animated GIFs on their image boards, releasing the contact information of a minor and sending hundreds of death threats, pornographic material, and hate mail, launching denial of service attacks against a Boston hospital with very little grounds to do so, slowing down their network and causing unnecessary harm to innocent patients. Where does hacktivism happen? Hacktivism is a tactic that is used internationally. The great, or terrible, depending on your viewpoint, thing about hacktivism is that it is an anonymous, non-violent form of activism that can be carried out from any corner of the globe. This can be done regardless of where the hacker is, or where the target is located. A lot of the following points are very controversial, as is the nature of hacktivism and quite often the nature of activism in general. Pros of hacktivism. It allows the people to remain completely anonymous as long as they understand how to use data encryption to hide themselves. Despite their anonymity, hacktivists can still have a profound impact on societal issues, while the inability to be traced keeps them safe from oppressive governments who deny their people freedom of speech. It can be carried out from any location against any person, group, or government. Information that is being wrongly kept from the people can be recovered and spread, while misinformation can be brought to truth. So, what are the cons of hacktivism? What constitutes hacktivism is highly subjective. DDoS attacks are a form of cyber attack that involves sending so much traffic to a website that the website is forced to go offline. Some hacktivists believe that the use of DDoS attacks infringes the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, specifically Article 19, which states, "Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers." However, often DDoS attacks are used to provide the oppressed, who have been unable to voice their opinions due to restrictive governments, tyranny, etc., with a voice, so the morality of the issue is still up for debate. It is anonymous. While freeing people from fear of being prosecuted by governments for what is essentially peaceful protesting, anonymity can have its negative aspects. When a hacker pushes beyond the boundary of what is an ethical form of protest, we can no longer punish them for taking things too far. However, this raises another question. When dealing with international protesting, which government gets to decide when an act of activism has gone too far? Why utilize hacktivism? The media has an incredibly large impact on our everyday lives, and in the 21st century, the internet is arguably the medium with the greatest impact. We spend so much of our lives online that it's easy to forget there's anything outside of it. As students and teachers of media-related fields, I'm sure every person in this room understands how much the internet shapes our daily lives. Given the importance of the internet in our lives, it makes sense that activists would want to make use of such a powerful platform. The ability to perform a form of protest from anywhere at any time on a platform that millions and potentially billions of people could witness at any given moment is what makes hacktivism so useful. For example, people will often avoid going to physical rallies and protests as they are either too lazy or uncomfortable with the situation. When we give people the ability to protest against an injustice from the comfort of their own home, anonymously, we seem to have a lot more people who care. Hacktivism is not for everyone, however, and there will always be a need for physical protests, as being able to feel the protesters' rage or concern can be an integral part of gaining support for a cause. We are so used to being bombarded with negativity on the internet that the intended effect of typing derogatory statements in all caps tends to wear off. Another reason why hacktivism is not for everyone is it does require a certain level of technical skill. At the current point in time, the majority of the population are not quite as tech-savvy as hacktivism requires one to be. However, it would seem that with younger generations growing up with such advanced technology, an in-depth knowledge of computer systems, coding, and hacking is on the path to becoming the norm. Who utilizes hacktivism? Anyone can utilize hacktivism techniques as long as they have a moderate to advanced knowledge of hacking, open source computer operating systems, for example, Linux distributions, data encryption, anonymity and privacy, the Tor browser, and virtual private networks, VPNs. What do you think? Is hacktivism a force for good, bad, or is it neutral? Can we trust hacktivists? Can we trust Anonymous? What constitutes cyberterrorism? Should hacktivists be incarcerated? In closing, hacktivism is all about